So today I want to show you guys something. They let me into school briefly, and so I went and I got my cool shapes. So we've been, working on surface area. So, well, first of all, I hope you guys had a really good spring break. And hopefully you made it to the Zoom meeting, which was on Tuesday. Those are not optional. So make sure that you're paying attention to my website and going on there and looking at those times, okay? So the first one we learned is a cylinder, and we're doing all the circle-based ones first. This one has a circular bottom, circular top, and then of course this part is the sides, okay? Then we did the cone, which is also circular base. Okay, looks like a top, obviously like a cone. Okay, so the last shape that we're going to study that has to do with the circle is called a sphere. Okay, it's kind of hard to spell, so I put it up on the board. Okay, a sphere is basically like a three-dimensional circle. It's like a ball. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Okay, and we draw this little part in the middle so you can kind of, so that it looks three-dimensional. But basically any sort of round object that's perfectly round, okay, would be considered a sphere. Okay, so first thing you do, and we're going to find the surface area of it, which is the area of all the outside. Okay, we don't draw nets for this because, as you can imagine, it'd be like peeling an orange and then laying out the peel. This shape ends up looking pretty weird. Okay, all right. So first of all, I just want to teach you guys how to draw it. Basically, I drew a couple on here already just to have the circles be perfect. But you draw a perfect circle, okay, and then you just do this little swoop, and then you do like a dotted line in the back to make it look three-dimensional, okay? And then the surface area is a pretty easy formula, okay? It's just 4 times pi times r squared. So anytime I ask you to find the surface area of a sphere, the only thing you need to know is the radius. And the radius of the sphere is probably right where you think it would be. It's from here, how big to the outside, like that, okay? All right, so we're just gonna do a couple of examples. So for here, I just drew the circles. To draw the three-dimensional part, you just go from end to end, kind of try to get in the middle, do like that swoop, and then do a dotted line in the back, okay? All right, and for this one, I'm just going to go ahead and give you the radius. I'm going to say that the radius is 10 inches. 10 inches. Okay. All right, so then to find the surface area, all you have to do, surface area equals 4 times pi times the radius squared. Okay. Order of operations, you do want to square first, so 4 times pi times 10 squared, which is 100. Okay, then you multiply the two numbers, so you get the surface area equals 400 pi inches squared. Okay, and just like before, I do want you guys to leave that exact, which means that you leave the pi in there, so you don't need to like give me a decimal. Okay. Okay, so just a slight variation on that, okay, is I could give you, so this is example 1. Okay, remember, you can always pause the video to give yourself time to draw these. So go like this, okay, do the dotted line in the back. Okay, and this time I'm going to give you all the way across. Okay, and remember, all the way across is called the diameter. So I'm giving you that the diameter is 4 meters, okay? This is not a significantly different problem. You just have to be sure that when you use your formula, surface area equals 4 pi r squared, that this is the radius, not the diameter. So if the diameter is 4, the radius is 2, okay? So then the surface area equals 4 pi, 2 squared is 4. Multiply those numbers, you get 16 pi, what did I use? Oh, that's meters. Meters squared. Okay, so that's kind of like the basics. We're going to do one more kind of variation on that. So if you have this, you can think of this as kind of being the Earth, okay? The Earth is broken up into 2 hemispheres. This is the northern hemisphere, which is where we live, which is where most people live. And this is the southern hemisphere. The parts of Africa and Australia are in the southern hemisphere. All of Europe and Asia and North America are in the northern hemisphere, okay? All right, so this is called a hemisphere, okay? Okay, so we are going to find the surface area of a hemisphere. It's a little bit tricky because if you look at the shape, this part would be half of a sphere, right? But you can't just do half a sphere because this is counted in the surface area, okay? So it's all of this plus this circle, which is what people tend to forget. It's a little tricky, okay? All right, so let me go ahead and draw you one. I'm just gonna freehand this one. So I'm gonna draw, to draw a hemisphere, you draw half a circle, okay? And then you do like the bottom, and then you do the dotted line. Okay, and it's called a hemisphere. Okay, so to do the surface area of a hemisphere, take good notes on this. You do half of a sphere. Okay, the half sphere part will get you this whole top. Okay, then it's really, really important that you guys just don't say that the surface area is this part. You have to also do this red base. Okay, so you also have to find the surface area of this base, which it doesn't look like a circle in my drawing, but it definitely looks like a circle when you see it in real life. Okay, so then you also have to do the area of a circle. Okay, so the formula for finding the area of a hemisphere. So hemisphere, okay, surface area equals half of a sphere. Okay, that's this part plus the area of the circle. Okay, and for both of those, you only need the radius. Okay, so let's do an example. Okay, all right, let me erase these. All right, so I'm gonna draw my best half circle. Sorry, I know I'm in your way. Okay. Now you guys can see why I pre-draw them. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and give you a radius for this. I picked out 6 meters. Okay, so this is a hemisphere. Okay, all right, there we go. Okay, so the surface area, okay, you have to do half the sphere. So you do half 4 pi r squared. That'll get you just this top part, okay? Then you do the bottom, so half a sphere plus the circle in the bottom. Circles have an area of pi r squared, so that's the base. So this is the base, and this is the top part. I'll call it the top. Okay, so you have to do both. So all you have to do is fill in the radius. So 1/2 4 pi, the radius is 6, so 6 squared plus pi times 6 squared. So every time I saw an r, I just plugged in a 6. Okay, and then this is going to happen every time. When you take half of 4 pi r squared, you get 2 pi r squared, right? So it's going to happen every time. So this will become 2, so half of 4 is 2, pi times 36, because I squared the 6. And then this is another 36. Okay, so 2 times 36 is 72. And then you just simply add those. You can add them because they both have a pi in them, okay? So the surface area equals 108 pi and then meters squared. Okay, so there's one of these in your homework. Just watch this video again if it causes you any confusion. And remember, I also put a formula sheet on the website, and the formula sheet has the cone, the cylinder, and the sphere. Because remember, you don't have to memorize those. If we were in class together, you still wouldn't have to memorize those. So feel free to use the internet for the formulas, use the sheet for the formulas, you know, just use anything at your disposal, okay? All right, so once again, a sphere is 4 pi r squared, and a hemisphere is half that plus the base. Okay, all right, you guys. We're gonna stay with surface area this whole week, but move on to a different shape next time. Okay, just email me if you have any questions. Bye.